Hello and welcome back to that Eurovision site. Today we'll be looking over the national final of Serbia, Pesma Evrovizju, which finally gives us a sad girl ballad as Teya Dora took the victory with a Ramonda. I'm Daniel and today I'm joined by...
Hello, I'm Kittens, and I use she, her pronouns. Hello.
So getting straight into it, I think get a disagreement right off the bat. What did we think of the winning song?
It's not for me, but I do think it's done really well. No, like this song is not for me. It is a big sad girl ballad, and it is not for me. This is exclusively well, it's not exclusively you territory. This is definitely you territory.
Yeah,
Um, but I do think it's done incredibly well. Like, I think the staging is so pretty, especially like right at the end where the flower comes out and everything. It's so well done. And there is not really anything that similar to it going on
yeah,
in the contest right now, which I think could really do to its benefit. Um, it's although it's not for me, like I can very much see that this is going to be something that is going to have really big appeal. And it's got that, big message behind it, both that personal message and the bigger message behind it, about like the flower and all of this stuff. And I just think it's a good thing to have this year to break up what we've got.
I was
Please
getting
enthuse.
I was getting quite nervous that we weren't going to get something like this because I'd seen so many songs like this falling, even not even making the final of their national selection, like falling in the semi-finals. But I think it's one of, if not the one of the best ones that have been done this season, especially with the staging. It's and especially with her vocals as well. Some of them have been shaky. She wasn't. She was
No.
great. And the meaning behind the song's really poignant as well with the whole never give up, ram on the flower, all of that. It's just really nice, really.
It, I, yeah, and like I've already said, but obviously we have had so many close calls with stuff like this getting close and not getting in this year, and we do need good variety
Yeah.
in Eurovision. We do need a little bit for everybody.
Mm.
Having something which is just the same is a dull year, in my
Yeah.
opinion. So I don't think I think this is a very good example of what it does, and she does incredibly
Yeah.
well. The performance is great. It's heartbreaking. It's relatable. You don't have to really know what's going on to know what this song is about. And I think the
Yeah.
best the best songs like that do kind of
Yeah.
go beyond the lyrics and take the performance.
So, winner aside, what are the other songs from this year's selection that you did prefer?
Well, it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who's watched any of our videos before, that I'm a bangers person. I do be enjoying the BPMs, and last year Serbia absolutely served on the BPMs, and this year it did slightly fewer, but there were some beautiful, beautiful tracks in there that have gone straight on the playlist. I'm very happy. Um, Serbia never change, basically. From the final, Constructor and Zaina were mine. They were my favorites. Shout out to Bojana and David because it was stupid, but I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Um, it was daft, but enjoyable. Um, Constructor bringing the same staging effectively
Yeah.
as a demonstration of the exact push
Yeah,
point of the song. Very clever. Would it have transferred to a stage very well at Eurovision? I don't know. But she's a really engaging performer, and I don't think you would have had to seen the previous
yeah,
staging to really understand that she's an engaging performer. And Zaina, just it's stupid fun. The lyrics are daft. I don't care. It's just a
yeah,
great time. Um, three of my faves fell at the semi-finals. Xhaka, um, Filari, even though the effects were alarming, that it was a performance which I did and didn't want to see again, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
And of course, Philip Bolos, my beloved. Um, it I will be playing that song for a very long time, quite honestly.
yeah.
What about yourself?
I think it was. There are songs I would rather never hear again, but there's also quite a few that are very good songs in each in their different ways as well. I think Constructor, very good song, very good message. As you said, I don't think it would translate to Eurovision, mostly just because people who watch as locals or casuals don't know who she is, really. They don't get it. They'll just say, we saw her a couple of years ago. They're just out of ideas. So it's something great for the Eurovision fans, not great for the normal people. I think if Serbian OJ select her for the second chance, I think she'll do very well there.
Mm,
Other than her, I think Philip Baloch, fun song, Boyana and David as well, and Zaina and also Georgie. I think that's a song I didn't particularly take notes of before the live shows, but I think he really elevated it in his own way. I don't think it's a sound he usually goes with, so I think he's done well with getting what he can
yeah,
out of it.
I would agree with that it gained a lot in the performance. I could have given or taken it on the recording, but the performance was great.
I think one especially other than Teya Dora, which was my favorite of the selection, was Bedem by Christina, which kind of feels like the same thing for me as
Mm,
where it's a song that is already very me coded and added staging that is also very me coded on top of that.
yeah,
I think if Theodora wasn't there, I would have loved to see her go through, but
yeah.
I don't think any other like strong female ballad was going to beat her out, especially with the jury points. But I did learn she is originally Montenegrin, so Montenegro 2025.
Yep.
I think she'd be a great one to have in there. And moving on to Eurovision, how well do you think Theodora can do in Malmö?
I mean, the thing that comes to mind is this is realistically the only song of its kind in the competition this year. Um, you know, we have all our songs now. We are recording this mid-March. So we have listened to all the songs. Um, it is a really strong version of what it is. It is going to have a lot of fans, I think, but I worry that it is going to get swallowed up um if it is not staged very well. I think it needs to have quite a big staging. I think it needs to be not subtle.
Yeah,
Like the staging in PZD, I love the stage itself in PZD. Um and I think it just needs to have this, it needs to be so much bigger. I want to
yeah,
see it fill the arena. She has this amazing vocal and this amazing talent. It needs to be huge. I do not want this to be small. Um, I think if it's going to succeed, that's what it needs more than anything else. Do not go subtle, go big, you know? Um, I I I just think it needs to be in a position where it can't be ignored. And I would love to see it do like a you know, do something where it starts out as quite subtle in the competition and quite a a kind of little underdog kind of
Mm.
moment, and then as the rehearsals come, it rises and rises. I would love to see that for them.
I could see her on a good day doing very, very well. I think after her semi-final performance, I put like £1 on Serbia to win. I think I might have been getting carried away. I I don't see her winning at this point, but I think it it's hard to really predict because there's no one song that we can say, yeah, this is definitely coming here, except maybe Germany, and that's
Ye
not on the right end of the scoreboard
it Germany
because
feels like a really different thing to what this is. I don't know.
I think there's I can't confidently predict at this point where anything is coming in like the top 10, 15,
I am
because
really struggling this year.
I can every time I listen to like any of the top 5, 10 songs in the odds, I can say, yeah, this can win, but only one of them can.
This feels like a really interesting year generally because there is
I think
or there feels like there is no clear winner, and every time I think there is, something happens.
what that could contribute to is making it so it's a very low, especially since the new point system came in, very low points to win.
Mm,
Probably the lowest we've seen under the new system. I think that could go either way for her because it depends if the televote get it. They
yeah.
don't always get ballads, but when they do, they do, you know.
Yes.
And I think something that would be very interesting, I think, is she's really big in India and Turkey
Oh, wow.
because TikTok, apparently.
Oh,
So
right.
rest of the world vote could be one thing to watch out for her. I think
Mm. I mean, looking at like the semi-final that it's in, so it's in the first semi-final in the first half? First half. Like, I feel like it is a stacked semi full of really strong.
I think it will be fine, just about.
I think she will make it. Just about. We'll pin this for
Yeah,
some poor
I th-
Eurovision
yeah.
takes later. Um, I feel like
It's
her.
giving me Alika from last year that's just
Yeah.
about scraping through the semi-final, but really pushing on in the final.
And I feel like Alika is potentially going to have the same problem. It's a big song with small staging. And that's why I want this big staging from them, because I
Yeah,
think a song like this does need
yeah,
something massive visually going on, not to take away from what she's doing, but to just give it that oomph to make it really memorable. I mean, you've got Portugal and Slovenia, which admittedly in the second half of the first semi, but could potentially maybe harvest votes from it. I know they're kind of different songs, but because we haven't really got anything too similar to this year. But they could steal that vote off her, but it's so hard to tell. So hard to tell at this point.
and back to the show. What did you think of the production as a whole? What did you think of maybe the ABBA medleys, both of them?
Oh God. Oh God. Um, I mean, officially, it was one of the last national finals, really, wasn't it? And by that point it felt like we had seen 2 million ABBA medleys. Um, and obviously we're not gonna get away from ABBA this year, not in a million years. We are gonna have ABBA content
Yeah.
all over the place. Um, it's done. We're we're done and we never have to see that again. I'm okay with that. Um, I I mean, I wanna say that I love how the stage looks and I love the artwork for Serbia has underrated graphics and
I
massively underrated graphics
I
and
am
massively underrated
so
staging.
excited for next year's logo because of how
Oh,
symmetric it'll be.
oh, it's gonna be so nice. But yeah, I mean, graphically, stylistically, this show is really well done. I love the stage. The stage is great. The way they do the graphics, like the intro graphics and stuff like that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Um, I feel like the show could do with um being quicker.
Yeah,
In my humble opinion, it does bang on a bit.
a lot.
Um, there's a lot that could be cut out between that. It does not need to be
Yeah,
quite as long, especially for the semis. Like, I understand if you want to bang on a bit in the final, it's a big deal, totally fine. But in the semis, does it need to be so long?
yeah.
I don't know.
I,
Um,
I know from live tweeting it, there was like a period of maybe 15 minutes where I couldn't do anything because I don't know what they're saying in Serbian. And the green screen on the green room segments are just so unbearably long. Like
mm,
they're speaking to each artist for about as long as they sang, where
yeah.
it makes me think they could like trim that down by like 2/3 and maybe just have it as like a talking head in the postcard or something.
Yeah, I mean,
But
maybe it is very, very interesting in Serbian, and we are just like sitting here going, whoop. But it did feel like, compared to some of the pacing of some of the
yeah,
other finals that we've had this year, that the pacing was a little on the slow
yeah,
side. And we could have benefited from it being shorter, quicker, faster.
yeah,
Um, but this is such a small complaint, really,
yeah,
comparing it to like other shows which
yeah,
felt like a disaster. San Marino. Um, you know, I they they seem like lovely hosts. Again, I don't speak any Serbian, so I've no idea. There were some fantastic outfits on display.
yeah,
The pink glittery outfit on the host in the final, I was coveting most of the way through. Um, you know, I think stylistically it's a great show. Um, I can't I feel like I can't really comment on you know, stuff, but the length could have been more
yeah,
compact for sure. Um, stylistically, never change
yeah.
or keep changing and keep innovating, but you know,
I think that's pretty much bang on. I think, especially compared to their neighbors in the Balkans, Serbia are doing very, very well for themselves.
mm,
Especially with they won't have the same budgets as your Melfests or your San Remos, but they still put on a very good show for what they can do.
yeah.
And I've got some gripes with like the postcards I think were a bit strange. They're just like frolicking around in a void or something. I think
I kind of like those.
that,
I
that,
thought they were kind of
I
cute.
think they're fun, but they don't really do much about what the sort of job of a postcard is to like tell you more about the artist. I think
It was a fun vibe to me. I will. If this is what we're going to
I think
disagree on, I feel like this is the tiniest, tiniest part of this. You know.
other things like the random draw for the running order, I don't think worked, especially because the people in the second half don't have as many options to get drawn in, especially and with a random draw, you get three ballads back to back.
Yes,
Yeah,
I feel
I
like that.
think you need to space them out because going through
the Zaina, Constructor, Bojana, and David portion, I was like, I'm awake. I'm awake. I
And I'm going to talk about voting formats because I don't like the formats that convert jury points to 12 to 1, but I'm not going to complain because the right song won because of it. And
mm,
I also think having each jury member be their own person and giving you 12 points is interesting. I think,
mm.
especially in terms of transparency, I think in theory, it is good, but I think it might have backfired a little bit because a certain song didn't win.
Yeah.
And maybe they've been too transparent because somebody who didn't give points to a certain song was faced consequences because of it.
I mean, part of me thinks that the problem with that is on the broadcaster for putting that kind of song in the lineup. If you are going
Yeah,
to put that kind of song in the lineup, everybody has to deal with the
yeah,
consequences of that track. Um, and I don't know, there is a certain amount of duty of care of
yeah,
the broadcaster or whoever's making the selection to be like, well, some people might find this song controversial. I mean, I am not I don't know enough to comment authoritatively, but it just seems like an interesting situation where you've got
yeah,
people being, getting into consequences because of their views on a track which is winning a competition.
yeah,
Um, if it's getting to that point, there needs to be some thought about
yeah.
that and what that means for future editions.
I just like the idea of protesting in the street because a song lost the national final.
It,
Uh,
it, it, you,
it, it's
we should be
giving
glad
it's giving
that.
me ideas for Sweden.
You're going to Malmo with a cap that's with a like sign that says Medina were robbed.
Yeah.
Um
Last time I was there, I did see an SVT office, so I know where to go as well.
I don't know, like I, I feel like we are obviously joking here, but there has been some reports of all sorts of stuff that has happened because of this edition, and I just think this is another moment when the broadcasters needed to really have a think about what they're doing and be a little bit more careful or make sure everybody is adequately
See, I
okay.
I don't think there's a really good way out for the broadcaster in that scenario. Either they let them in and it's controversial, or they don't, and the person goes and says, "Ooh, I'm being silenced because of what my song is about," and then they get even more angry.
Yes, but in a way you do end up protecting the people involved in
Yeah,
your competition to a certain extent. If you are going to be very public and say these are the jury members and this is their individual scores, and there is a song in the competition which is potentially controversial,
yeah,
um, and people are going to be mad to a to an extent of protesting and such like that, you know, I feel like there is some actions have consequences time to be worried about. I mean, what has happened, you know, that particular song got a a relatively low jury score. Um, you know, it what has happened, you know, and the decision has been made. Um,
yeah. Going forward, then, what would you like to see from Serbia in future editions of PZE.
I mean, I I think they are on a good track generally. Like Serbia have a relatively good record of qualification. They have a relatively, they even have a winner in a just
Yeah,
short amount of years that they've been in the competition. You know, they should keep doing what they're doing, at
yeah,
least to a certain extent. You know, this show feels like it's slightly underrated in the fandom,
yeah,
um, but it has brought us so many great tracks over the years.
yeah,
There have been so many great songs, um, that have come out of this show, both qualifying and not qualifying. Um, I, you know, certainly for me last year, I probably playlisted more tracks, but I'm not sad about what has happened this year that I've probably playlisted fewer tracks. I'm glad there is variety. I think compared to some other national finals this year, to get this really good
yeah,
set of variety this year from them, this wide gamut of songs, has actually been really nice
yeah,
to see. I I personally don't want to be in the situation where I like 75% of what's in a national final, because I kind of feel that that's not what these selection processes are
yeah,
about. If it's all the same, what does it reveal? Um but I think they are on a good path. I really want them to keep up the graphics and the styling.
yeah,
There's clearly somebody doing graphics and styling there who is
yeah,
on it. It's beautiful. Keep doing it. Um, don't change on that front at all. Um, just evolve. You're doing great. The show, maybe it's a bit long, but
yeah,
honestly, you've only got 3 shows to worry about. We're not dealing with a Lithuania situation where we've
yeah,
got loads and loads of shows. I'm willing to forgive them for 3 shows if they want to bang on a bit. Do what you're
yeah.
doing. Um, I think honestly, I'm hoping the song will qualify. Um, I really hope that, that if it doesn't, that they feel like they have to change or something, because I don't feel like there's anything wrong with the process and what they've done. Um, you know, they've set out what they want to do, and they've
Yeah.
done perfectly fine.
I f-
Um, they are on the right path for me. Just
yeah,
keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Um, just, and I think to hear as well, we are not getting the problem that we have with other countries where stuff is just like shoved into English as well. We have, Serbian all over the place.
yeah.
And it's good. I
Yeah.
keep doing that.
I think that there are people who usually sing in English, but for this show, wrote songs in Serbian, which is, I think, great. And that's why I think, as you said, I think if they continue just doing what they're doing, it's only a matter of time before they get a very good result
Yes.
because they clearly have they clearly care a lot about the competition. The This gets really good ratings in Serbia. They've clearly got the talent pool as well. I think
Hmm.
there's a lot of really good artists in Serbia, a lot of really good songs. Even in the ones that competed this year could compete again and get good results. And I just think things are going to looking good and that they'll look good for quite a while to come yet.
Yeah. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, I think you're, regardless of any result that comes out of this is a good path.
I, especially in modern times, I don't think the results matter that much. So
Mm.
I think Teya Dora's song has already done, I think, well enough to justify someone looking at the show and saying, yeah, I could do that just because of that domestic success. And I don't know if it's just because I like the song, but it's all over my TikTok page.
Mm.
I think people can see that and say, yeah, even if she NQs, I want to be in that position.
Yeah.
And especially in a modern contest, we're going to see more entries like that. And I think it can only really be a good thing.
Yes. I think, you know, we have artists returning, and being a returning artist doesn't necessarily guarantee a good result. Like there's no like, oh, they're coming back, they're gonna win, kind of thing. It feels like everybody's on the level playing field. It feels like you know, that there is a good amount of opportunity for almost anybody who is in this show. Um, and maybe you're like, I don't have the local context, but it feels like to me that you have people who are coming back and doing what they're doing, and it doesn't, to an extent, it doesn't really matter if they go to Eurovision. They are still going to be
Yeah.
on the biggest show in their country, showcasing their music, and that is going to give them a big platform. And that is the way it should be. You know, if you get to go to Eurovision, it's a bonus
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Okay, so that is a wrap on our recap of Pesma's Evrovizju for Serbia. And be sure to follow us on every social media you can think of: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all of them, that Eurosite,
Tumblr.
and Tumblr, probably some others, as well as following that Eurovision podcast on all places you get your podcasts. And be sure to check out the site for your latest Eurovision news. I've been Daniel, and you have been.
I've been Kittens.
Bye.
Bye.